This is Black Star Radio.
I'm Jumbo family. Welcome to the Black Fire Network 54 Corresponding Show. My name is Spikes, and this is a show we get to discuss all matters Africa in regards to culture, arts, sports, economics, social, political issues, among other different matters, right here on the Black Fire Network. And remember, you can get interactive with us on our different social media platforms. We are on Instagram, Black Fire Network. We are also on Twitter, Black Fire, and our Facebook as well, Black Fire Network radio station. If you would like to drop me a line, simply feel free to do so. You can write me an email to spikes@blackhotfirenetwork.com, or you can also use my other alternative email, which is blackhotfireafrica@gmail.com. And of course, I trust that everyone is doing well, and this particular day finds you in utmost health. And of course, if everything is not moving on fine, be optimistic and positive that things will actually turn for the better. And of course, today I want to start off the show with some positive vibes. And of course, I want to share with us some proverbs from Madagascar. I simply want to share with us some proverbs from Madagascar. And proverbs really carry a lot of information. It probably carries a lot of information knowledge that is transferred from one generation to another generation. And of course, one of the proverbs, there are a couple of proverbs from Madagascar, or what is actually also called Malagasy. And this one actually reads, "A man who lets his problems get the better of him is like the man who divorces his wife the first time she makes him angry. It's better to refuse to go than to accept not to go." And I also want to say, do not be so shy. Do not be so in love that you can't tell when the rain is coming. Do not be so in love that you can't tell when the rain is coming. Those are a couple of some proverbs coming from Malagasy or Madagascar. And these are the words of wisdom. You know, some people sometimes get so emotionally attached or so emotionally, drunk in love, if I might use that particular phrase, drunk in love, and they can't even tell a wrong from a right. And that is a situation where you wouldn't love to find yourself in. There is also the other one that actually says, "A man who lets his problems get the best of him is like the man who divorces his wife the first time she makes him angry." And that is all about cohabiting, and of course, living and coexisting with one another, and being able to forgive the misdoings of someone else. And of course, there is also the other one that says it is better to refuse to go than to accept and not to go. You know, some people will actually tell you, perhaps you want to set up a meeting, yeah? You want to set up a meeting with maybe a partner, a business partner, or even a meeting with a loved one. And when you do, you might be there thinking that the meeting is actually going to happen, but nonetheless, it will not happen. And someone would rather actually just tell you, "I'm not going to make it the meeting," instead of giving you false hopes. And once they give you some false hopes, they will try and make you believe that they will actually attend. They will actually attend that particular meeting. But it is more wise. It is wiser. It's actually wiser to tell someone that you will not make it to the meeting, instead of telling someone that you will actually go to the meeting and end up not showing up. I believe that that is a value. That is a lack of value for honesty, which actually should not be the case. You should rather just tell someone, "Hey, I'm not going to make it that particular meeting," instead of just telling someone, "Hey, I will be at the meeting," and then eventually not turn up. And now, of course, this is a Black Fire Network. Remember, you can visit our website, and our website is actually www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. And of course, you can be able to create a profile right there on the network website, and you shall be able to engage with the rest of the family in regards to the issue of connecting as a family. right there on the Black Hot Fire Network website. And of course, if you do have some questions and on some of the matters that we have been discussing right here on the Black Hot Fire Network, it's also important that you are able to raise them, and you can be able to ask those particular questions, and we will be able to address them as we continue along the way as the Black Hot Fire Network family. Sorry about that. We had a bit of a hit, and of course, I do get to apologize for that. Nonetheless, this is a 54 corresponding show on the Black Hot Fire Network. My name is Spikes, and I trust that you are doing fantastic. And I was saying, if not, keep a positive mind frame. Today, I just want us to get into the matters of discussing Africa and what is happening across this beautiful continent that we also do call the motherland. And I do have one of some positive stories coming from Mali. And the government, the transitional government in Mali, has actually, have actually shown some positive progress. Simply because right now they are talking about, coming together to conduct the elections, coming together to conduct elections. And of course, this is what we would love to see, because earlier on we had seen a slow kind of a progress in terms even of the talks that were being held between the junta and there's the West African trade bloc, which is also known as the ECOWAS. And of course, there is also some positive signals coming from the ECOWAS. And what is happening is that ECOWAS has decided that it has signaled that it might actually start lifting the sanctions. Remember, at the start of this particular week, we have been talking about the sanctions that have been imposed on the West African nation of Mali by the ECOWAS, and the ECOWAS happens to be the regional trade bloc, which has a very, very big impact in terms of the politics of the day in West Africa. But nonetheless, I also do want to address some other different matters that are taking place in Africa. And of course, this has to do also with one of the tanker explosions. And of course, students have been killed in a fuel tanker explosion. And this has happened in Nigeria. And of course, these tanker explosions are not uncommon in Nigeria, and which is actually very, very unfortunate, because over and again, right here on the 54 Corresponding Show, we have talked about the blowing up of oil tankers in Nigeria, often most of them involved in accidents, and these accidents eventually result to the loss of lives in Nigeria. But nonetheless, we do hope that the government will put in place some measures. We do hope that the government will put in place some measures to actually make sure that the students not the students, but the population, the citizens are not put at risk because of these explosions of the oil tankers. And this was in a place called Lokoja. This was in a place called Lokoja. And this was after an accident that took place. Nigeria is one of Africa's largest, biggest oil-producing countries, and you will find a lot of transportation of oil from one particular place to another different place, and therefore, some of the time you do find that there will be collisions on the roads when these tankers are likely transporting the oil. Perhaps there might also be other different considerations. Maybe they would find ways of transporting oil that do not necessarily involve these tankers. One of the things I also believe that tankers do have an impact on the roads. When these tankers are transporting these oil, there's a lot of traffic perhaps. There's also the issue of the destruction of the roads. But nonetheless, primary school people and students are reported to be among the dead people that were killed in these explosions. And these killed the people in central Nigeria after the fuel tanker exploded following a collision with other vehicles. And it's very, very much unfortunate. And of course, I was saying earlier that these kinds of accidents are not uncommon in Nigeria, which is the sad part. They are not uncommon in Nigeria. And of course, a crash happened on Wednesday morning in a major highway in Lokoja when the driver lost control of the tanker after the brakes failed. The local police said that the brakes of this particular tanker failed, and therefore they lost the control. They did lose the control of the tanker. Robert Williams, thank you so much for joining us. Hello, Robert Williams, where are you tuning from? We will have to know where you are tuning from. And you're saying habari za asubuhi. In Swahili, we say njema or nzuri kabisa. Or we can also say salama. If someone says salama, it means that they are well. And if someone says nzuri, it also means well and all good. And therefore, it's befitting simply to respond. If someone says habari za asubuhi, we simply say nzuri, salama. We simply say salama. When we were in Tanzania earlier this year, we had really, really a good time because the Tanzanian Swahili is really, really wonderful. And if you have been to Tanzania and you have listened to the kind of Swahili that is spoken in Tanzania, it's really, really interesting. And of course, there is a bit of a variation from what is spoken in Nairobi. The Tanzanian Swahili is really, really fluent, and because that is their national language, it's also the official language. If you're going into an office and you want to have some matters addressed, you will go on in Tanzania and address whomever you're addressing in Swahili. It's a national language as well as the official language. And that is what I do love Tanzania, because Tanzanians are really a unique people. Apart from not falling for this COVID-19 pandemic hoax, They have also, they also do love to stand by their own. And of course, while other East African countries have their official languages as English, Tanzania still have the official language as Swahili, which is a thing of pride, because if you want to colonize people, well, the way you can actually know that people are really, really colonized in their minds is that you actually take over the systems, take over everything, and even put your own, language, and as a mandatory, as an official language in that particular country. But Tanzania will not have none of that bullshit. And nonetheless, I do hope that everyone is doing well. And of course, sorry, I went a little bit sidetracked. But nonetheless, I was saying we shall be resuming our Swahili classes right here on the Black Watfar Network over the weekend, and we are hoping that perhaps you can join us on our Swahili classes. They shall be taking place 9 p.m. Sorry, not 9 p.m. really, but 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Eastern time. And we shall be getting to delve into the matters of just learning and having a comprehension, and also, an appreciation of the language of Swahili, because they say Swahili is actually very, very much prolific. And talking about languages, there is the issue of the takeover of Africa by the Chinese. There is the issue of the takeover of Africa by the Chinese. And what I've come to realize, some people are getting it all wrong when it comes to issue of languages, when it comes to issue of the interaction of the African and the Chinese. People are getting it all wrong. For example, in Ghana, and I also believe in Zambia, but let me just stand with Ghana. In Ghana, in some colleges and institutions in Ghana, they have decided to start teaching Mandarin in Mandarin, the Chinese language, Mandarin in Ghana. And what will happen eventually is that you will have a lot of, Chinese having the interest to go into Ghana, because they know they can be able to really just, communicate directly with the people and go on with their conquest of Africa. Another thing that is also happening in terms of the Chinese takeover of the African continent, and the people are actually looking the other side, which is not very, very clever. What is happening is that in some Chinese institutions, they have decided to introduce the language of Amharic. Amharic is an Ethiopian language, and therefore there is the teaching of the Amharic in China, and therefore that also makes it easy for the people of China to come and get into Ethiopia and be able to take over the country as they so wish, because they will be able to communicate in Amharic, which is one of the most widely spoken languages in Ethiopia. And of course, we have seen some people not really showing an interest in the African language itself. In the African language itself, as Africans, I believe one of the things that we should actually be focusing more on is really getting to embrace our own languages as the African people. Swahili is a Bantu language, and I believe it to be one of the easiest languages. And therefore, if people are to engage one another in terms of connecting Africans or the issue of African unity, then perhaps one of the places, or we should actually start that simply with learning of the language and embracing the language of Swahili, whether be it in South Africa, whether be it in East Africa, in East and Central Africa. That is why we do have the language of Swahili being spoken widely. But nonetheless, I do believe that even in South Africa and West Africa, time is coming when we shall also have people in West Africa and South Africa getting to embrace the language of Swahili. Nonetheless, let's get into the matters of the day. We want to discuss about South Africa. And South Africa is an interesting country. South Africa is also another interesting country. And why do I say this? I say South Africa is really interesting because, let me also go back to the issue of language. The South African people are really proud of their languages, whether be it the Xhosa language, whether be it the Shona language, whether be it even the Ndebele language. The people of South Africa are really, really interested and embracing of their language. I have seen, I was following some accounts on Instagram, and there was this beautiful South African lady, and she did a live show, and she was going on and on and on and on and on talking about, I don't know what she was really talking about, but sometimes she could also interject and continue with her English. But she was really, really proud of her language. In some places, you might not find people having a lot of confidence in their language, but the South African people are really proud of their language and their culture, which is a thing that should also be embraced by other African countries. But nonetheless, I won't take us all the way to South Africa. I want to share with us some of the most popular South African dishes, some of the most popular South African dishes. We are talking about South Africa today because today is the National Heritage Day, the National Heritage Day in South Africa. Every year on the 24th of September, they do celebrate the cultural heritage in South Africa. And for this reason, I want to share with us some of the most popular South African dishes. Now, of course, you will get to see a little bit of that right here on the Black Hot Fire Network on this particular video. Remember, it's South African and National Heritage Day. We also do have this particular food in Kenya, but it's prepared by people normally who operate butcheries. They have a special way of preparing this, and in the local dialect, people just call it mutura. And this is how it's. I don't know really exactly how it's prepared, but we also do have it in South Africa, and I believe it's also something that people do love to enjoy in the South African nation. of course, those are some of the foods that the South African people love to eat. And of course, I could see some of them. There is a little bit of some similarity between those particular foods and a little bit of what we do have also right here in Kenya. Nonetheless, if I ever get the opportunity to go and tour in South Africa, I believe I would be sampling some of those foods in that particular country just to get a taste of what it is that they are all about when it comes to affairs of the kitchen. And nonetheless, every different country do have their own delicacies. For example, in Kenya, we do have what we do call ugali nyama. And ugali nyama simply means some ugali and meat. And of course, we also do have a popular food right here in Kenya, which is actually known as githeri. Githeri is actually the staple food for many families in Kenya, as well as what you also do call the matoke. Although even if the matoke is actually much popular in Uganda, not really so in Kenya, but even the western part of Kenya, there is a big population of people who love to consume some matoke. Nonetheless, we are keeping our matters South Africa. And of course, we are discussing the Heritage Day, the National Heritage Day in South Africa. And this is a day where people get together and celebrate. Just get to celebrate the African culture and the African diversity in this particular place, South Africa. Nonetheless, before we get into the matter itself of the heritage, I also want to share with us some of the best places to visit in South Africa. And I believe South Africa will be an area of interest simply because of the culture. First and foremost, the culture of the people. You know, there are countries that you would love to go simply just to see the culture of the people, just to get the warmth. You know, they are very much hospitable in this country. But nonetheless, I want to share with us some of the top places that you can visit in South Africa. The last time we were on the show, we discussed and highlighted some of the places to visit in Ghana. But today, I want to take us way back to South Africa and show us some of the places to go visit in South Africa if you ever get the chance to tour and see what's good in the country. These are some of the places to visit, the top 10 best places.
South Africa has all of the features that travelers long for in a vacation destination. Fine weather, gorgeous scenery, great beaches, modern accommodations, and superb cuisine. The southern tip of Africa also offers an exotic array of once-in-a-lifetime adventures, from off-roading on a safari to diving with great white sharks. It's hard to name another holiday destination that offers as much variety. Here's a look at the best places to visit in South Africa. Number 10. Blyde River Canyon. Blyde River Canyon is the second largest canyon in Africa, after the Fish River Canyon, although it is much greener due to its lush subtropical foliage. Walking treks through the rich diversity of flora and fauna-filled canyon offer views of magnificent escarpments, waterfalls, and ancient geological phenomena. Visitors have the opportunity to encounter all 5 of South Africa's primates here, as well as hippos and crocodiles near the wetlands of Swandini Dam. Number 9. Cape Winelands. The fertile valleys of the Cape Winelands are surrounded by majestic mountains, sleepy villages, fruitful orchards, and some of the lushest scenery in South Africa. Visitors can follow the wine routes of the Cape to visit the vineyards of the country's finest winemakers, whose sherries, ports, brandies, and intriguing whites and reds are world famous for their delicate flavors and savorable palatability. Number 8. Addo Elephant National Park. Located in the Eastern Cape region of South Africa, the Addo Elephant National Park is one of the country's largest parks. The park is famous for its elephant population that has a special brownish skin color due to the red soil. Amongst the elephants, other animals like ostriches, antelopes, and warthogs can be seen. As part of the park's expansion, a group of lions and a group of spotted hyenas have been introduced to the park as of 2004. Number 7. Hermanus. Located on the southern coast of Africa near the Garden Route, Hermanus is famous for its shore-based whale watching. The sheltered, shallow waters attract southern right whales that migrate to the region each year to mate and breed. A 6-mile-long cliffside walk with built-in telescopes and benches offers visitors plenty of opportunities to view these social animals as they raise their flukes in the sea breezes. Whale-watching boat tours are available as well.
Good grammar and spelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire,
Number 6. Durban. South Africa's second largest city, Durban, is located on the eastern coast. Durban's subtropical climate, scenic beaches, and close proximity to Johannesburg have made the coastal city a popular vacation destination for South Africans. The English colonial architecture that once dominated the city has been enlivened by a mix of Zulu murals, Islamic mosques, Hindu temples, and Christian churches.
This actually looks like one of the best beaches in Africa.
Number 5. Huhluwe-Umfolozi Game Reserve. As the only park under a formal conservation effort in KwaZulu-Natal where you can see the Big Five, lions, elephants, leopards, buffalo, and rhinoceros, the Huhluwe-Umfolozi Game Reserve offers visitors wildlife viewing opportunities second to none. Wildlife enthusiasts may enjoy the vast expanses of native plants and native animals during guided walks, self-guided drives, or opt for a thrilling viewing experience by boat along the Huhluwe Dam. Number 4. Garden Route. The Garden Route is a scenic stretch of the southeastern coast of South Africa. It extends from Mossel Bay in the Western Cape to the Storms River in the Eastern Cape. The name comes from the diverse vegetation encountered here and the numerous lagoons and lakes dotted along the coast. It includes some of the best places to visit in South Africa, including Knisa, Plettenberg Bay, and Nature's Valley.
I believe those are some of the best places you can actually just get to check out in South Africa. If you ever get the opportunity just to go see. And I believe the camera and the recording is actually very, very clear. It doesn't exaggerate, neither does it downplay all these sceneries in South Africa. But the problem is when it comes to South Africa, it's also the most unequal nation in the world, one of the most unequal nations in the world. It's not the most, but it's one of the very, very unequal societies in the world, simply because we do have the black majority living in poverty, whereas the white minority is living in the best places in Cape Town, in Johannesburg, among other different South African cities. But nonetheless, at least I did show us some of the places you can actually go visit. Johannesburg really has some wonderful beaches. But I get to realize that even when you're talking about beaches, Somalia, I believe, on the African continent has the biggest coastline, I think most wherever you are in South Africa, you're not very, very far from the coastline. Wherever you be in South Africa, you are largely near the sea, most of the time the Indian Ocean, sorry. But nonetheless, I do believe that some of the beaches in South Africa can only be rivaled by the beaches in Somalia, because also Somalia, the whole of it has a very, very big coastline, as well as Mozambique. I believe Mozambique also happens to be one of the places with a very, very big coastline. Nonetheless, those are some of the spots that you can actually get to check out. And today we are discussing the issue of the heritage of the South African people. And this particular day, it happens to be a very, very special day for them because they do get to celebrate the traditions, the customs of the people, and they do get to highlight them. You shall still find a lot of, I think there's also a tourist attraction, they're trying to sell their country. I believe they're trying to sell their country as a tourist destination, and of course, appeal to tourists from Africa and even outside Africa to just go and see what's good in South Africa. And this is one of the heritage celebration days. This was actually from 2017. I shall also be sharing those some other subsequent celebrations of the same and what was going down in South Africa for this celebration.
President of the American University of Nigeria, I wish our South African colleagues a very happy Heritage Day today, September 24th, the 22nd celebration of such a wonderful day. We're celebrating the diversity and the culture and all the ethnic groups and the religious groups and the tribes that make up the Republic of South Africa. We're so happy to have students, staff, and faculty from South Africa here at the American University of Nigeria, adding wonderful kaleidoscope and a rainbow of diversity.
It actually goes on and goes on about the diversity and the rainbow of the colors in South Africa. But nonetheless, this is also this is also what is actually happening in South Africa. You can see the women dancing, and this is actually live as it happens, and this is in South Africa on one of the platforms. And one of the ways of highlighting culture is through music and dances, because this takes people way back from the music that they got from their ancestors, and also some of the dances that were practiced even from the pre-colonial period. these are the women having a dance in South Africa. And of course, this is one of the events where they are actually highlighting the Heritage Day, and which is actually a good. And I was saying earlier, I do believe that music and dance is one of the ways that reconnects us to our ancestors. And now, of course, some of the dances might have actually been carried on from the ancestors to the current generations. And of course, also through dances and music and even storytelling, it's very, very much important that people of South Africa are able to carry on the tradition. There is also one of the dances. There is also one of the dances where you do find people also dancing in, some of the South African queens. Some of the South African queens dancing topless. Some of the dancing. Some of the South African queens dancing topless. And many people have said, "Oh, that should not be the case. That is indecent exposure." But I don't think that is, and of course I will share with us one of the videos, but the stream will actually be banned. And also the president is expected to address the country virtually. In this particular incident, the president is expected to address the country, and of course this is an event that has been celebrated annually. Every year they get out and they get to celebrate the African culture and the African traditions in this particular place through music and dance, and not just that, but even the display of other different kinds of, they use other different kinds of mediums to celebrate their culture, and this is what it's all about right here. Let me share this video. This lady is expounding more on the same.
What has been dubbed at some point a rainbow nation. However, under the coronavirus lockdown, many celebrations have been halted. And even if you're going ahead with the Bride Day, please be mindful of social distancing and regulations. And there are no doubt the doubts that racism and social inequality have been highlighted during the lockdown. And our national motto, United in Diversity, seems to be under threat. So what does Heritage Day mean in this context? And all that South Africans have been facing this year, how do we go about really celebrating this day, if at all? Let's discuss this now with Nothawe Mafu, who is the Deputy Minister for Sport, Arts and Culture. Deputy Minister, good morning. Thanks for joining us, and happy Heritage Day.
Morning, Sakina, and thanks for having me. Happy Heritage Day to you and the viewers at home.
Deputy Minister, as we celebrate Heritage Day 2020 under lockdown, it seems that South Africa is a divided nation. If we ever doubted it, I mean, it is very clear now. We divided socially, we divided racially, politically. How do we then come together to celebrate this day united in our diversity?
It's true, Sakina. Well, South Africa has always been a divided nation. You know our history, you know where we're coming from. So we've always been divided, both racially, both politically and socially. And one of the things that the government of the democratic government after 1994 had to look at is the ways of how then we unite this country. And one of those was to then declare 24th September as the Heritage Day, as one way of trying to make sure that we get united into our diversity. It's work in progress, and we know that we are not even close to what we want to achieve. But of course, we can't stop trying, and we can't stop making sure that we build a better country for our children and for our children's children. So that's why we will always not get despondent. We will try and make sure that the little things that makes us united, we will celebrate them. We are a nation that loves to dance, whether you are white or black, you are Zulu, you are Xhosa. There are things that are common to all of us, that are a common thread. And we try to take those things up and lift them and make sure that we celebrate them. We can't deny the fact that South Africans love to sing, South Africans love to dance, South Africans love to see positiveness even in a negative situation. And those are the things that then we should actually harness and make sure that we build a better country, because unfortunately we don't have any other choice.
But the reality that we are faced with, and I look at the messages coming through this morning, perhaps easier to say for those of us who have a loaf of bread to eat, who don't have to worry about where the next meal is going to come from, Deputy Minister. But for South Africans who have lost their jobs during this lockdown, and those who haven't had a job for many years now, they are despondent. The economy is in crisis. Corruption is out of control. Crime is rampant. Lockdown has disrupted so much of our lives and the way in which we interact with each other. And this especially when it comes to not being able to celebrate these cultural festivals or festivities that you speak about, for example. How do we overcome all of this?
Yeah, look, Sakina, one of the things that we have to try and do is to remember always that every one of us, we've got a role to play in nation building and social cohesion. It is not only a few or a government that must play. All of us must find what role do we have to play, despite the fact that there's a lot that is going on that is negative. And I agree with you, a lot of South Africans are living in poverty. And
you can hear her trying to be optimistic, and of course that is a minister for sports and culture. But nonetheless, that does not stop the people in South Africa from going on and celebrating the South Africa Heritage Day. And of course, it's a good thing to see that people can still find a reason to come together in South Africa. But the problem is the government needs to address the fundamental issues in the nation. And one of the fundamental issues happens to be the inequality in this particular country. And the inequality, of course, has been fueled. It has actually been fueled by the treatment of the people, the black majority in South Africa, by the white minority. And therefore, if we are not able to address these particular matters as it should be, first and foremost, the issue of land reforms, the issue of inequality and opportunities for the young people, then we cannot talk about a day to dance and celebrate. And of course, we can also not talk about, bringing people together, whereas the underlying matters have not been addressed by the government of Cyril Ramaphosa. The president is expected to address the nation a few minutes from now, and we shall be hearing what he has to say and what the government is doing in terms of addressing the matters of, the coronavirus and the pandemic as it is right now. This is an issue that has held back many people. There will not be many gatherings today as opposed to other different years because of the social distancing rules in South Africa. We might not see people indulging in these dances that normally do capture the eye of the media every year from the congregation or the gathering of people to do these dances as a community in South Africa. Right now, as you speak, things have changed, and we understand that people are just trying to take care of their own interests. But nonetheless, I also believe that the government has not been doing the rightful way in terms of the way it has been addressing the issue of the corona pandemic. Nonetheless, we are almost winding up. And of course, before we do, I would love to urge us to head over to the Black Watfar Network website, and once we do so, simply create a profile. And of course, you can be able to interact with the rest of the family, and you can also be able to also engage us as the Black Watfar Network team, because we do believe that we can only build up each other up once we are unified, and of course once we do have a platform that enables us to unify as one people. Once again, my name is Spikes, and it has been interesting just to highlight what is going on with South Africa. But before then, I simply have to share the video. Of the dances in South Africa. Let me share a video of the dances. Let me share a video of the dances so that you can just get to see what I'm talking about. And this was way back in 2018, but nonetheless, you would absolutely love these. This was one of the dances, but it was really nice just to see people getting together. I was saying I think even dances sort of, you never know, they also maybe raise the vibration when you're just out there dancing and having fun. Those are some of the dances, but that's in a school setting. But nonetheless, there is also the official dances. I couldn't get one of the footage of the same. But nonetheless, much peace and love. I want to wish you a happy and a productive day. Remember, this is a Black with Fire Network, and of course, it's a delight every time that you get to join us on the show. We never take your company for granted, and of course, we value and appreciate your support on the Black with Fire Network. We are interactive on different social media platforms. Kindly find us on Facebook, Black with Fire Network Radio Station, as well as on Twitter, Black with Fire, and also on Instagram, Black with Fire Network Radio Station. Like I said, if you'd like to get a hold of us, simply shoot an email, spikes@blackwithfirenetwork.com, or you can also send to blackwithfireafrica@gmail.com. You're just highlighting on what's going on in South Africa, a little bit of them highlighting their culture and them highlighting, their traditions, the South African people. There are many different cultures, especially when it comes to even the marriage ceremonies in South Africa. But we shall be talking about the marriage ceremonies in the traditional marriage ceremonies in South Africa on another different show. But nonetheless, it has been a delight. Make sure to check out what's happening in South Africa, maybe on your social media platforms. I don't know if you have South African friends, but if not, this would be a good year to make a South African friend. Once again, much peace and love. Till next time, I want to say kwaheri.